Daddy, where will I go when I die? That question came from a 9-year-old having cancer. And the answer of her father changed my life too. I used to be a strict materialist. Materialist in the sense that I only believed what I could see or experience or underpin with facts. And the one thing I realized when I heard this story, that I know so little about death, about the only sure thing in our lives, beside taxes. But we barely know anything about it. I started to collect. What do I know? I know that my body is going to stop. It is going to start to rot. And my mind is going to cease to exist, to nothing. And that thought terrified me. And then there was this guy with this question, Daddy, where will I go when I die? And guess what? He didn't say, well, your body is going to start to rot and you're going to cease to exist. But instead, he said, look, sweetheart, I have to be honest with you. I have no clue. But could you please tell me when you get there? I'm so curious. I was shocked. But I think that's a great line. And I call that life hacking. Staying honest, but giving hope at the same time. But as a strict materialist, I had to ask myself the question, was that suggestion that there is something beyond death a lie to fade away the little girl's fear? Or is there something more beyond that? So, I started my journey. I started digging. I went for science, books, publications, I read everything I could. And I found myself at a near-death experience conference. Near-death, these are people who almost died, but they didn't. These are the people who are talking about the tunnel of light, love, connectedness, unity. So I was sitting there at the back row, being kind of skeptical. Okay, if body stops, brain stops, we stop. What's the trick here? And they came the speakers, one after the other, and they told the same story about what they felt. They were all struggling with the words to find the right expressions. But they were all the same story somehow. That was kind of puzzling from a scientific point of view, you know. But then there was this one guy, a manager about the age of 60, hard lines, beard, suit. He went on the stage. He said that he was kind of a workaholic, torn away from his family, and he had a car accident and almost died. And as he started to go into his experiences of what he felt, he got so emotional that he started to cry. And as he was crying, he was murmuring to himself, I know that this is so embarrassing, but I have to go on because what I have to say is so important. And he did. He did go on. To be honest, I didn't really care about what he was saying because I was so shocked that what would make a 60-year-old manager stand on the stage in front of 500 people and humiliate himself? What might be that experience that he wanted to get across? Unfortunately, I didn't hear the message. So I had to go on and dig some more. I went to the other domain that claims that they know a lot about death. Religions. All sorts of religions say that they know a lot about death. I went to school that compares these religions, and I learned that In every religion, there are dogmatics and spirituals. The dogmatics say that if you don't do what I say, then you will be burned, tortured, and buried alive. The spirituals say that if you follow what I suggest you, you will experience extraordinary things. Spirituals are curious. They look for experiences. And what I found about these experiences is that these people are altering their state of mind. They pray, they meditate, they do trance dance, and with all this, they come into a new state of mind where they can experience something that is beyond our biological body. They have a peek into something that is not determined by biology. They experience things like love, connectedness, unity. Rings a bell? It was the very same thing that the people from the near-death experience were talking about. So, again, my scientific mind said, on one side, no religious people, but talking about the same thing. Then the people who were consciously trying to achieve, to experience something new. They were similar. And you know what these people had in common? They didn't fear death. Neither of them. Because they had a peek to the beyond. They could look behind the last door that we will all have to enter. And they came back. And they said, I do want to live. It's not a torture, it's a choice. So, one summer evening, I was watching the sunset from my balcony, and I realized that my quest for this whole thing is over. And ironically, I found faith through scientific research. That's kind of awkward, isn't it? But I remained an engineer kind. And I started to think that could we maybe build some kind of a pill that if one would take, then it would have this experience, to have that peek beyond that door, to get rid of that fear. And for that father who gets the question, Daddy, where will I go when I die? The father would say, hey, take this. Go see for yourself. And then let's talk about it afterwards. And then I started smiling. Would I want to take a pill like that? Would you want to take a pill like that?